YouTube, what is good? It's about 7:24 a.m. right now, and I am up early today because I have a lot to do today. There's a lot of stuff to do. I know the title of this video is probably something around like how I started taking consistent action or something like that. I was like, instead of me making a sit down talking head video about how I started taking action, let me just show you what it is, right? And then throughout this vlog, I will continue to pour bits of information. Well, I don't know why I said that. Pour bits of information regarding how I started taking consistent action towards my goals. But man, it is a beautiful day outside. Top of the morning, and this is honestly the best time to get anything productive done. Eat the frog, as they say, because everyone's asleep in my whole family besides my granddad. Everyone's asleep, and I can do what I need to do in complete peace, absolute peace, which is always the best thing ever. I woke up at about 6:05 a.m. today. I prayed Fajr, which is the morning prayer for those who don't know. I came home and did my morning routine, which is very simple. I go to the bathroom, track my weight, meditate 5 to 10 minutes, and that's about it. It's because I just like keeping things simple. I had a longer morning routine before, but I was like, bro, I don't like this. So I was like, okay, for me, what are the habits I really want to do every single day that I can get done fast? And meditation was one of them, so I was like, let me just add it to my morning routine, as well as tracking my weight, and yeah, that's about it. So I did actually plan on starting deep work at about 7:15 a.m. but it's about 7:26 right now because I did not take into account the amount of time it will take to set up the YouTube stuff. Early mornings are one of the best things ever to actually get work done. And I'll be honest, I don't wake up, early every single day. I don't. Obviously I wake up for Fajr, but then I go back to sleep, and then I wake up at about 9:30, 10 a.m. Usually that is the case. I won't lie to you, right? It's about 2 days a week where I actually wake up for Fajr and stay up after Fajr. I don't like that, so I'm trying to now take advantage of the winter because I can easily get 7-8 hours of sleep every single day and wake up for Fajr no problem. That wasn't possible in the summer, right? So I'm trying to now take advantage of that, and because of this I actually get access to the undistracted morning hours, which are just amazing. And I kid you not, when you start to experience the blessings of this early morning hour, you will want to work every single day at this time. This is the agenda for the day. I hope you can see this. I'm not so sure, but this right here is my schedule, as well as the daily tasks I need to do every single day. And this is one of the biggest components for me when it comes to taking action consistently. Planning today, yesterday. So before I go to sleep, I plan tomorrow. Every single day without fail. Maybe there's a few exceptions, but 99.9% of the time I am planning tomorrow today. That includes the highest leverage, most important tasks I need to get done every single day. That also includes my schedule. So I don't like to use Google Calendar. I don't like to use, a timetable on the Notes app because I just find it doesn't take into account life. A lot of times life be lifing. So I don't like it. Like some days, for example, something might happen, or I know something's going to happen, and therefore I can't really change it, because I have to change the whole schedule, and I don't like that. So I was trying to find a quick fix for this, and the thing I found was simply planning tomorrow's schedule today. I know what's coming up, I know what is not coming up. Now, obviously, some things can happen then and there, but the majority of the time, I know, okay, this is what's gonna happen, this is what's not gonna happen. So I can easily schedule out my day, and that's exactly what I've done here as well. Obviously, it's not gonna be perfect. I will obviously deviate from this slightly, ever so slightly, maybe even a bit more than slightly, but the point is, I try to stick to this timetable as best as I possibly can every single day. If I can do that, then I know that day is going to be productive and I will get the tasks that I need to get done on that day, specifically, inshallah. So that being said, I got a lot of studying to do today. I am a university student, for those who don't know. Today I had class, but I'm not going to take it because I have like 3 projects due in 1 week, and I'm like, bro, come on, I can't. So I'm going to sit at home and just grind it out. That being said, I'm going to stop yapping. Let's get to work. So it is currently about 10:06 a.m. I got done with pretty much every single bit of studying I had to do. I will say I didn't complete the whole chapter just because there were like 40 questions. I got done like 22. So I will say one thing, I felt pretty tired today, and the whole reason was because I slept about 6 hours-ish, which is not that much for me. I need about 7 to 8 at least. I slept about 11:30 p.m. last night, and I woke up at about 6:05 a.m. But again, I also woke up in the middle of the night. It's not the best, obviously you should be getting 7 to 8. I usually get that now, but sometimes duty calls. I knew that if I didn't wake up today, I would suffer so much the rest of this week because I had to get these things done. I had to get this portion of studying out of my way. And honestly, this is one of the things that has helped me take action, realizing that you gotta take responsibility. How long are you gonna delay your responsibilities? How long? At some point, it's going to come and bite you in the back. That being said, I'm going to go eat now. 4 eggs, and I'll see you there. I know I look chopped, but we got about 4 eggs here with 2 pieces of toast. And the reason I'm eating this right now is because, well, I have to train in an hour. I have to train in 1 hour,
And I'm gonna give you an update on the training, but I'm finally starting to delve back into how I used to train. And the backstory behind that is basically I tore my rotator cuff, my shoulder, about 14 months ago. And actually 16 months ago, I've been doing, it took me about 2 months to start rehab. It kind of goes like this. So I go up, I go down, I go up, I go down, right? So for example, in 8 months, I was able to build back up to pretty much my 1 RM overhead press, but I pushed myself too hard and I had a flare up. So my injury flared up. So it took me about another 7 weeks to build back up. And then I started training hard again. Then I had another flare up. And in the midst of fixing that flare up, I had another flare up, which I am now correcting. So it's been about 3 weeks and I'm going to start implementing assisted pull-ups as well as rows and push-ups into my routine. So it should do me well, inshallah. And when it comes to my weight, I'm just trying to maintain my weight at this point because thing is, right, I could lose weight. I could really go and lose weight, but the whole thing is I'm not training to failure or close to failure. Which is why if I try to lose fat, if I try to lose weight, I'm gonna end up losing muscle as well. And because the training isn't there, to keep it. So that's really why I'm just trying to maintain my weight, and eventually my goal is to just do a body recomposition. Because I do have a bit of fat right now. So my goal would just be, and I have lost a bit of muscle. So I think I could definitely do a successful body recomposition. And that is gonna be the goal. So that being said, I will catch you when I go to train.
Okay, so here I am recording a voiceover. It sounds weird, but I'm gonna make it. Anyway, I'm starting the workout off with my warm up. Everything right now is going to be my warm up. It's basically me doing a assisted chin up hold just to activate my upper back, activate my lats, because that is very necessary for me right now. I need to get my back already activated through isometrics, and only then can I, do pull ups without pain per se, and my body feels ready. To actually perform them. So after that, I'm doing some lateral raises. Now basically before this I never did lateral raises because obviously I wasn't gonna do them because they hurt my shoulder. But now that I'm starting to increase the intensity and increase the difficulty of the exercise as my phases go forward with my shoulder, I am now doing lateral raises to warm up. This is just a very simple band lateral raise. I put a band at about knee height, or slightly above actually, and then I just do some lateral raises. It really, really, really gets my shoulder activated, gets my shoulder ready, and I'm gonna do this before I actually start adding weight to my lateral raises because otherwise, like previously, it's gonna hurt, and I don't want it to hurt, right? And that's one of the reasons why I choose to do band lateral raises as my warm up, and after that, I will eventually, inshallah, I'll wait. Now, after this, we have this actually weird exercise. It's called I don't know what it's called. It's like something called like a serratus press, something like that. But basically, I hold the dumbbell as you can see right now, and then I protract my shoulder and I try to keep my elbow, my shoulder, and my wrist all in a straight line, and then press up. I swear, the cramping sensation in the serratus anterior is insane, and it's very, very important for fixing your scapular winging, but also helping your scapula move. That's one of my biggest problems. My scapula doesn't move properly. So to actually fix that and to actually stop that from happening, the biggest thing I'm doing right now is this exercise. I do about one set of this and this exercise that you see right now for about 12ish reps, 10 to 12 reps. And what you're seeing right now is basically the trap 3 raise. Again, it's super important because it gets my upper traps, my lower traps activated. And that is very important for posture, but also just for your overall shoulder health. Extremely, extremely important, right? So again, I'm not using much weight here. I'm using about 1 kilogram, and that's because you don't need to go heavy on these movements. These are just warm-up movements. If you go heavy on them, then that's when you're cooked. That is when you are cooked because now you're gonna start to compensate with your form, and it's just gonna recruit some other muscle, not the lower trap, which was something that you actually want to recruit. Okay, so this is an exercise that has really, really helped me. It's basically called like a medicine wall bounce, but I don't have a medicine ball. So therefore, I just use a basketball. But it's a medicine ball wall bounce, and what it basically does is you're supposed to retract your shoulder and depress your shoulder, and then you're supposed to, just bounce the ball on the wall, and you're supposed to move around with it. And this basically trains your shoulder to respond to fast situations, right? Where, for example, if the ball immediately goes towards the right side and you were pressing it in the middle of the wall, then you need to move and your shoulder needs to move, but you need to maintain that scapular position of the depression and retraction, right? So it really kind of challenges your rotator cuff in a more dynamic way, which is excellent actually because you are slowly starting to delve more into human movements, right? Humans don't tend to stay static in one position, they tend to move. So that's why it's really, really good. Gets my rotator cuff absolutely burning. Then after this, we have the simple passive hang. It's actually been about 2 weeks since I've hung. And it feels so good now to hang, because before this, right, I had some pain in my shoulder when I would, hang from a bar. And so I was like, I'm not going to do that for 2 weeks. I'm going to stick to landmine press and I'm going to stick to rows for 2 weeks. And it has really helped, because I hung, alhamdulillah, I hung pain free, right? I still have some mental barriers that I need to, overcome. But besides that, bro, it's been phenomenal, right? And now I'm doing some scapula raises, not raises, sorry, scapula. I think it's called scapula raises, but like the hanging raises, where you activate your scapula, you retract, and you depress your scapula. That's what I'm doing right now, just to kind of activate my scapula before I start to do assisted pull-ups, as you're gonna see in a bit. It's so good, but it was really hard, so I only did like 5-6 repetitions. But eventually, I'm gonna increase this as time goes by, inshallah. Now here we are doing my main pressing movement. That was the warm-up before, what you saw before. Now is the actual pressing and pulling motion beginning per se. This is the landmine press. I swear to God, there is no better overhead press or substitute for overhead press that feels as good on the shoulder as the landmine press. Even though this is not perfect because the bar is too short, it's like a 5 feet bar per se, but it feels great. And I'm doing about 16 kilograms right here. Eventually, I was supposed to do the single arm overhead press, but I was like, you know what? I would rather stick to this for now and let my shoulder heal and let my shoulder feel better, and then I'm gonna go towards the single arm dumbbell overhead press, as opposed to doing it right now, because I still feel like there is definitely more room to be made, more room for progress, in the landmine press. That's why I'm doing it, and I'm gonna stick to this for as long as I possibly can and just keep going, So after this, we have the assisted pull-up. Now, I can do pull-ups, by the way. I can do about 10 to 12 pull-ups, but I'm still doing assisted pull-ups because, again, I don't want to rush into it. I want to emphasize this. I'm taking my time. Every single time I have rushed into, movements before, it's always bitten me in the back. So that's why I want to take my time, and I just want to do it once and for all. I don't want another flare-up. I don't want another flare-up at all. So I'd rather just, take a month extra, but then save the next 4 months that I would have to spend recovering from a flare-up if I did have one. That's why I'm doing this, right? And as you can see, I'm taking it slow, I'm taking it chill, and I'm not trying to rush the movement. I'm really trying to feel my back, really trying to depress my scapula, really trying to retract it and feel my back working, feel my lats working, because I want those muscles to work and not my arms. It's very, very important with the assisted pull-up. You can easily substitute the whole movement with your arms instead of your back, and that's not what I want. So that's what I'm doing here. That's what I did before. And what I'm doing here right now are push-ups, simple push-ups. Again, by the way, I haven't trained push-ups in about a year, more than a year, 14 months. I haven't trained push-ups. I was only doing bench press, but I was like, my shoulder doesn't feel as good on bench press as they do on push-ups. But this time, for some reason, I don't know what happened. Push-ups just felt weird. Like on my right shoulder, which is my injured shoulder, they just felt weird. They didn't feel right. So I was pretty confused about that. But eventually, after the session, they started to feel good. And alhamdulillah, I was doing pretty well. But you're going to see an update in a bit now. And after this was my last movement, which was the body weight row, ring row. I love this movement so much. I should have gone slower, but I love this movement so much. I think it's the best row in the world, genuinely. After like the cable row, I think this is the best movement ever. There's no loading on the lower back, and you can also get such a sick contraction in. But that was my workout, simple workout. Eventually, I'm going to start adding in arms and rear delts. But for now, this was the workout. Again, simple. Did 2 sets of these and did 3 sets of the previous movements.
I'll be totally honest, man. This workout did not go how I wanted it to go. In terms of, basically, here's what's happening. I don't know how much time, so I'm going to explain to you. Basically, I had a flare up about 3 weeks ago, and for 3 weeks I just did rows, so dumbbell rows, and landmine press. Those are the only 2 exercises that I did, and it felt better. It felt super, super good. And so I was like, okay, now I think it's time to actually add in push-ups and rows. And I remember the last time I had a flare up, I did push-ups after about 2 weeks, and I felt amazing. It felt completely fine. In fact, my shoulder felt rejuvenated after push-ups. But I don't know, today just did not feel right. And I'll be honest, I've really been in my head ever since I did the push-ups, because I was like, why isn't that the case? It should feel good. It should feel nice. It's not nice for some reason. And because of how my training is going, because of how, even though yes, I am taking action, I am doing the work, I am learning Arabic, I am, trying to be as productive as possible, put out content, whatever. But I just don't feel love for making vlogs specifically, because with vlogs it's like I'm showing my life, but like it's very, very boring in the sense of even in training there is no excitement. There is no excitement, because, and even if there were excitement, I don't think you would be able to feel it, because it's such small things. Like for example, being able to do 3 sets of push-ups instead of 2, that's my excitement. Whereas if you were to look at it from the perspective of the internet, excitement is like being able to bench 315 instead of 275, or go from 275 to 315, for example. That is excitement on the internet. At least that's what it seems. So I've been very hesitant to actually make the vlogs, because I love making vlogs. Like genuinely, like if I were to be able to have the complete freedom and the ability to do so, I would love to make vlogs, but it's just like, I don't even think that what I'm making is valuable, you know, and this is something I have to kind of struggle with. Like, I don't think what I'm making is valuable. I don't think what I'm saying is valuable whatsoever. In my head, at least, that's what it seems like. I'm kind of in my head about my own fitness journey as well as, you know, my content creation thing, you know, because like I had a channel before this, which was pretty much all me sitting down and just talking, right? Pretty much just me sitting down like this and talking about, you know, something, a topic I've learned, whatever. But I was trying to act as an authority. I'm not an authority right now. And so obviously I'm not going to speak like that. But if that's the case, I'm supposed to share lessons from my journey. But my journey is kind of stuck as well, specifically with fitness, you know, because it's kind of like I'm going back and forth in circles, because I start training well, then I have a flare up. Then I start training well, then I have a flare up. And this has happened 3 times. I hope it doesn't happen, inshallah. I've made lots of dua that it doesn't happen a 4th time. But who knows? And if that happens a 4th time, and then what do I even create? Because my main purpose of the channel, is actually for me to document my fitness journey, you know, that's like as the main pillar. Obviously it's not just fitness, it's mindset, it's habits, it's faith, but a big pillar is fitness. And so if that isn't progressing, then the channel won't progress, you know. So that's like double stress for some reason, you know. And like, even I don't know what's going on with this bad boy. I don't know, bro. It's very frustrating, if I'm being very honest with you. Very, very frustrating, because the moment I realized in 2024 that my physique has remained the same for 2 or 3 years, that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna go hard now. And the moment I decided to go hard, I got a few weeks or 1 to 2 months after that, I tore my rotator cuff. And I haven't been able to go hard since then. And whenever I did go hard, I always had a flare up. So I had to scale back down and spend 1-2 months building back up, and only for me to be able to start to train harder and then again have a flare up. It really hurts, you know, it really, really hurts. And I want to, because I haven't seen anyone who's documented his whole journey, his whole fitness journey from start to finish, like from when he was barely close to the physique he wanted to where he, you know, went to the point where he has a physique. I haven't seen anyone really document that, at least in the way I want to see it. And I felt like I'm going to be the first person to do that. But with the way things are going, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know when that's going to happen. I have no idea. And so that is really, you know, a frustrating thing for me personally, like not being able to do that, you know, not being able to inspire so many people with my journey. But on the other side, right, this is like one side of my mind. The other side says the depth of your struggle determines the height of your success. Obviously, success is only from Allah, but then again, you have to go through lots and lots and lots of difficulty to even get there, right? So I just keep thinking, I just keep saying to myself, the depth of your struggle determines the height of your success. The fact that I've gone through 14 months of rehab, and I'm still going through it, right? Because this is rehab basically, right? And I don't know when I'm gonna be able to completely snap out of it and just lift. I don't know when that's gonna happen. I don't know if that's gonna happen. But I'm going through all this struggle, these 14 months. I felt like I've lived 5 years because I've seen so many ups and downs, that like at this point, ups and downs in life don't even faze me. I'm like, okay, it's going up, it's gonna come down. Like it's down, it's gonna go up. Like at this point, ups and downs in life don't faze me that much. Yes, there's an initial reaction, but after that point, it's like whatever. That's something I keep repeating to myself. The depth of your struggle will determine the height of your success, inshallah. Because this is gonna be a crazy story to tell. Inshallah. When I get to the physique I want to get to, and I get to the fitness I want to get to. Because it's not just about the physique. I also want to be able to feel good, you know, move well, and you know, have good cardio and have good fitness, and you know, then eventually go into endurance training. Probably, I want to be able to. I'm probably gonna have a 6 story to tell, because most people get jacked within 3, 4, 5 years, right, of proper training, and I'm like, yeah, I went through a lot to get to this point. The longer it takes, the sweeter it's gonna be. The longer it takes, the sweeter it's gonna be. The more elite I'll become. That's just something that's, you know, keeping me going, because it's not easy, man. Every single time you try to push yourself, every single time you try to get better, you have a flare up. Every single time. And insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So every single time I do try and tweak something else, you know, like for example, previously after my 3 weeks, I went directly to pull-ups, but you saw me doing assisted pull-ups, and that is because I don't want to rush directly into pull-ups, you know, because I want to make sure that it's ready, stable for the next phase, you know, and I'd rather just take a longer time once and get it done with, instead of rushing and then falling back down, rushing and falling back down. I'd rather just do it all at once, but take my time with it, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna go praise the Lord, but something on my mind. So it is time for the second meal of the day, and I'm having some pasta. My mom made that, and I usually eat whatever my mom makes,
in the afternoon. And by the way, if you're wondering, I don't track my calories, at least not now. I track my weight every single day. I can see if I'm eating too much or I'm eating too less, but usually I'm in around the 70 to 71.5 kilogram range. I don't track because I kind of know how much I'm eating because I did track calories in the past before, so I do have an idea. But at this point right now where I'm at, it's not like I'm trying to cut or I'm trying to bulk, I'm just trying to maintain my weight because I am going to eventually do a recomp, inshallah. So it's not really necessary for me to track my calories or whatever, so I just eat, however I want to. And only healthy food though, only healthy food. Sometimes I might have a piece of chocolate here and there, but usually it's just healthy food, and I just eat however much I feel like eating, and that works out pretty well for me. I'm gonna have this, then I'll see you in a bit.
So I was just about to do some work on Excel for one of my projects, and I just want to touch on something that has really helped me personally with taking more and more action, and that is eliminating content consumption and choosing to be intentional with it. I'm someone who's been a true victim of analysis paralysis. I'm talking, I would go into extremes, bro. Like researching, watching every single video on bench press to make sure that my form was all right. I would watch every single video on one topic because I wanted every single lens on that. And because there would be so many perspectives going into my mind, it would just stop me from taking action, which is the worst thing possible, right? Because if you're consuming all this information, you should be taking more action, right? That's how it should be. Like if you are consuming this much information, you should be taking this much action, if not more. But for me, it was like information was here, but action was here. And that led to me feeling super overwhelmed. And it was not until I chose to be more intentional with my content consumption that I started to take more and more action. By the way, it's only been 1 week since I started doing this, and it's really, really helped me a ton. All I do is I have a list of things I want to consume, right? So if I will consume, I'll just watch those things. For example, there's a bunch of courses from AMAU I want to watch. There's a bunch of videos I want to watch from John Mark Stevenson, a bunch of videos from Mikey Posada. I have a list of those videos I want to watch, and every single time I want to consume or I have free time and I'm like, you know what, let me just consume some content, I go over there. Sometimes, yes, sure, sometimes I may go on YouTube and watch something specific, but most of the time, it's honestly just consuming from that list. And funny thing, ever since I've made that, I've also just stopped consuming so much, which feels amazing. My mind feels more clear. I feel a lot sharper and I feel a lot more focused because there isn't any information constantly going into my mind, So this is something that can really, really help you. Truly, I think it can help you, which is just consume less and consume with intent. And honestly, when you stop consuming so much and you actually start taking action upon the things that you have learned, that's when you just go into this mode of action, go. And there's nothing better than that, to be very honest with you. Now, I will say one thing. It did feel weird, especially the first and the second day when I stopped consuming. For a few days, I was like, I'm not going to consume. But then I realized, I was like, this is not really it. I do want to have some form of consumption in my day. This makes me feel better. So that's when I added the whole list of, intentional consumption. And it's just, I haven't looked back since. By the way, it's only been a week, but it's really served me. I really feel the difference. So you should go and try it as well. Anyway, I'm going to do some finance work, bro. I'll catch you later. Alright, so now I'm going to have my final meal of the day, and this is my favorite meal of the day, to be very honest with you. Look at how beautiful that looks. Chicken and rice. I got a bunch of rice right here, along with some yogurt mixed with mint, some cucumber, and chicken breast. Don't knock it until you try. I'm telling you, it's a good mix of protein, carbs, and just honestly gets the job done. It's so good. I'm telling you, it's so good. If you season your chicken breast right, it is so good. So I'm taking a quick little walk right now, actually just wrapping up, and yeah, now I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna end this video. So that is the end of the vlog. I hope you really took some value from this vlog. I hope you took some benefit from this vlog. Again, I know my vlogs aren't so good, by the way. I know they're absolute trash in my opinion. And it's just because it's a bit uncomfortable for me to actually sit there and just, make vlogs. Especially because I do feel like I don't really do much interesting stuff in my day, It's mainly just I sit down and do whatever work I need to do for university. I work out, I create content, and that's really it, I sometimes go out with friends, but that's not as often as I would like. Point is, there's not much to show, And I think this is what the journey really looks like, right? Because I never have ever cared about fancy cars or fancy houses or materialistic stuff. I just never care about that. I just care about really helping people, showing, making an impact, documenting my journey, and just, having the freedom to be able to do so, And just, building something for my hereafter, inshallah, by impacting, hundreds of people, thousands of people, inshallah, to better their health, better their life, and become, a better version of themselves, inshallah. But that being said, that is really it for the vlog. I don't think I have anything else to share. So that is where I'm going to call it a day, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.